Welcome back, Central Valley Foodies. Our next guest today is Hansel Kern of Kern Family Farm. Kern Family Farm is about 55 miles north of Fresno, way out in the boonies up there in the mountains. Please welcome our next guest, Hansel Kern.
Thank you so much, Jordan.
Can we see each other there? Okay,
yeah,
we're good.
Thank you.
Make sure the camera's good to go.
Appreciate the invitation.
Yeah,
Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, so we're happy to have you. Anywhere you want to start, I'd like to educate our guests and our audience, or I guess our audience on Kern Family Farm and kind of how you guys got started. Anywhere you want to start?
Sure. Well, it started in 1974. I got a chance to buy a nice piece of land that was considered undesirable because it was out in the boondocks without any public service, no phone, no power, no road plow, no snow plow, anything like that. So I quit my junior year of high school and bought in on some land with a group of folks that wanted to create kind of a community. And been there almost 50 years now. The first 30 years I was a masonry contractor and doing rock work all over the mountains. And then since 1999, I retired from that and we began the Kern Family Farm. And I was able to purchase a lower 40 from my stepmom, and so now we have 80 acres, and we've been farming in earnest since 1999.
Okay. So you started with masonry, was kind of your background, and you just had an opportunity to build a farm way out there.
I should qualify that a little bit. I mean, I grew up on a homestead in Oakhurst. My father was one of the back to the land people of the 60s and 70s.
Oh, okay.
So in a family of 6 kids in Oakhurst in the foothills, we raised about 80% of everything we ate on our land. So I've been gardening since I was 8 years old, had my own garden plot.
It was already kind of a lifestyle
and
for you.
I knew that I wanted to be on the land and farm and have goats and chickens and all that stuff. So
very nice.
Yeah.
So you guys are an all organic farm, I believe.
Yes,
and
certified organic.
And you guys specialize, a lot in these salads. Your salad greens, from what I understand. Sorry if the color's a little off right there. It's just the lighting. That's kind of what you guys really specialize in?
It's a big one for us, salad greens, spinach. And now that my son is recently married to an herbalist and a flower person that's extraordinaire, we grow a lot of edible flowers. And herbs are taking a good hold onto our farm. A lot of our terraces are becoming full of herbs.
So your herbs, you mentioned, so Hansel's son, Aaron, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, he's married to an herbalist, and so how did that relationship form? We talked about it for a second.
Yeah, it's really a wonderful story. He's been wanting to be a family man since he was 19 years old, and tried a few different things. We have interns called woofers that come and volunteer and work on the farm. He's had a couple of great girlfriends through that, but no one that wanted to really stay and make a life with him. So. He tried a little bit of the internet thing, and that didn't work out. Yeah. And so I said, there's a magazine that's all about farmers. It's called Acres Magazine.
I heard of that.
It's been around forever.
Yeah.
And I said, once in a while I see a personal ad in the back of that, and maybe I ought to just put it out in the universe and give that a try. And so he did, a very simple personal ad. And as it turns out, Becca up in Seattle read that ad, and simultaneously some folks that had interned on our farm were at her farm. And she put 2 and 2 together that it was the same person that they were talking about. My son was really good with their kids, and that impressed them. And so they started reaching out to each other and fell in love quite quickly. And she pulled up stakes and left the wet Northwest and came down to sunny California.
Fell in love with the farm, and
yeah.
She was kind of able to put her knowledge to use with making these herbs here.
Yeah.
Like this one here, it's Kern Family Farm. It's their lavender, organic, non-GMO, small batch herbal distillations. Stuff smells great.
One of the things, a lot of the things she makes, but one of them is the hydrosol. That's what that is.
So you guys grow all the lavender on your farm.
Yeah.
It's organic. So what would you do with something like this? What do you guys?
This is it's something you can spritz a little bit right on your face, and in the air around you, and it just has a calming, soothing effect. And her first year there, she put in 1,000 lavender plants, and now I think there are another 1,000 are in. So lavender is a big part of her herbal program.
What time of the year do you guys harvest lavender?
It's done a little later in the fall, or late summer when the wands are full. The wands become flowers and everything, and that you pick the wands, and that's what you use.
Yeah.
So I'm not an expert on herbs, but she sure is, and she also teaches classes on it. So
she teaches them at the farm?
At the farm.
Oh, okay.
People do a 9-month course where they learn from starting an herbal seed or a cutting and right to all the way to distilling it and making salves and tinctures and hydrosols.
That stuff's very trending right now too. Salves,
Yeah.
Especially with the people in like the CBD community and different things you can make with all sorts of plant medicine stuff. It's really neat.
It's plant medicine. It's really what it is. Yeah.
So we got these juices right here. I want to talk about the Gnarly Carrot a little bit. So Hansel has not only Kern Family Farm, but it's attached to it, right? Is the Gnarly Carrot?
Well, the Gnarly Carrot is a store in downtown North Fork.
Oh, okay.
And then our farm is 9 miles out of North Fork. So the Gnarly Carrot is our public face. It's open 7 days a week. And my daughter, Becky, runs the Gnarly Carrot. That's her baby. And we support other small farmers. We go to farmers markets. We buy through a wonderful company called Veritable Vegetable in San Francisco, which is a wholly woman-owned company that's very progressive with their trucking techniques. And they are very efficient about delivering produce to small farms, small restaurants, small stores, and then on their way back, they pick up produce from farms and warehouse it in San Francisco and distribute it.
So you guys are very in support of local farms, just any farms. It sounds like you guys. I heard you guys pick up from Vineyard Farmers Market sometimes.
We do. That's one of our main.
That's here in Fresno.
Yeah. Blackstone and Shaw.
Blackstone and Shaw. Yeah.
Yeah. We really highly urge everyone to support farmers markets. There's several here in the valley. And,
you just got to seek them out.
Seek them out. Get to know your farmer. You get to meet them face to face, and it's just a whole different experience.
Now, do you guys have a farmers market up in North Fork?
We had a little one there for a little while, but it didn't really pan out too good for us. It was pretty small attendance. But we have our store. Yeah. And there is a farmers market in Oakhurst. And we used to go to that, but now once our store opened up, we're pretty busy.
So your store is essentially kind of a farmer's market store, but it also has nice things like their juices here, which I'm about to try.
Yeah, Becky makes some great different juices.
And their tinctures, so it's kind of a health food store / farmer's market store.
Right, and we carry Strauss dairy products. We have pasture-fed beef and meat, different meats and grains and flour and. We carry mushroom products from Paul Stamets from Fungi Perfecta.
Yes.
So we support we really seek out small-time producers and vendors to stock our store with. Yeah.
Paul Stamets, has he ever been up to your store before?
No, he hasn't, but he has been our keynote speaker at EcoFarm. My wife and I are on the board of Ecological Farming Association out in Santa Cruz.
Oh, wow.
And we put on a big conference every year at the Asilomar grounds. Yeah. And EcoFarm is a wonderful organization I'm proud to be a part of, and Paul's been our keynote speaker there several times.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
I'm really interested in medicinal mushrooms and their potential and plant medicine, all that. I've always found it very interesting.
Yeah,
stuff like
he's a master.
Stuff like your daughter-in-law's doing. All that.
Yeah, her program is really popular. It sells out every year. So this year she has a beginning class and an advanced. So she's teaching 2 different classes.
So what can we expect when we walk into Gnarly Carrot in North Fork? What can we expect when we walk in?
Well, it's really small, probably 1,500 square feet.
Family environment.
Yeah. And just a really nice variety. Becky's got it really well organized. We have a big emphasis on produce. We have a great big produce, box, I guess you'd call it. Cooling box. And it's got lots of neat little antiques in it. Our security bars and our front windows are all made from a Burning Man artist friend of ours who took all junk from my farm and welded it into beautiful, artful pieces.
Oh, he does the art out of Burning Man, the festival.
Yeah, he's one of the.
He creates stuff.
He did this just for us to help us with the story. Donated it.
Very nice.
We wined and dined him and kept him satiated, and he came up for 5 different weekends and built our security bars.
I want to see. Are you able to get the picture of the greens up there on that screen for the? Okay. Well, if you guys can't see, I just want to emphasize on the color in these things. I mean, these greens are just beautiful. I mean. This one's a nice mixed organic greens, and just the colors are, wow.
Yeah, it's got a mix of sweet greens and spicy greens.
Like I said, I work on a farm and help out with my stepdad's farm from time to time, and I can really appreciate the quality that goes into growing this kind of stuff. This is their spinach right here. I'll get some pictures for you guys later for the Facebook group and for the Instagram and everything, so you guys can kind of see. But
yeah, and we do grow probably 70 different kinds of vegetables. We're year round. We grow all the wonderful summer tomatoes and basil and cucumbers and squash and all that. And this was a particularly heavy winter, so our winter crops didn't do as well because we were under a couple of feet of snow for a while, and it was a lot of rainy, cold days, a lot of snow.
Your guys' climate's a little different than here.
Yeah, we're 3,400 feet, so we're up there in the mountains a little bit.
Yeah, but it's got to have some advantages, I'm guessing, with some of these more varieties you want to grow that need that temperature.
Right, it's really nice, and we get a nice breeze. Our farm is right on the bluffs of the San Joaquin, so we get really good airflow there, a nice southern slope, so we have kind of our own microclimate. And we practice no-till farming up there, where we don't disturb the soil. Try to mimic Mother Nature.
Yeah. So what is that? If you maybe can go into a little more depth. No-till farming. I know Naylor Organics up in Danube. You're longtime friends.
Yeah.
They also practice no-till for their stone fruit.
They do, and the whole idea, the principle for me is that when you turn the soil structure upside down with plows and tillage, then any carbon that is in your soil is exposed to the sun and it oxidizes and becomes carbon dioxide. And there's a lot of scientists that are saying that that's a huge part of our carbon dioxide imbalance in our atmosphere is by our industrial farming practices. And I know, I have respect for all farmers, whether they're on a big tractor with a big disc or not, but there are a lot of farms that are minimizing their tillage and disturbing the soil less, and they're capturing more carbon in the soil.
Yeah.
And the thing about soil, it's not just the different, nutrients that are in there, but there's a whole world of life, of mycorrhizae bacteria. In a big handful of organic soil, there's 6 billion microorganisms that we haven't even identified all yet. So there's a lot of symbiotic relationship between this mycorrhizae fungi and the minerals deep in the soil and the uptake into the plants. So we're trying not to disturb that relationship.
I was speaking with a colleague who's starting a business in Hanford, and we were kind of talking about nutrient density and soil biodiversity and all that. And he was telling me, because I work dairy production, right, full time, and he was telling me, these samples, these Brigg refractometers that we used for our dairy production and testing solids for dairy on the wayside, that you can actually take that, in fact, and test soil with it.
Yes, and the plant tissue matter itself, the whole bricks, the amount of sugars and proteins in the vegetables. The USDA has found that with the modern industrialized farming, a lot of the food value has left the food and the fruit and the vegetable that you're eating because the soil isn't rich with vitality.
Right. Yeah.
So it becomes just a substrate to hold the roots rather than a living, giving nutrient force.
Yeah, so I just think it's so cool to see what kind of how nature intended to have food brought to the table, how it was like this, and what we've done. Maybe like you said, maybe it's not a bad thing. We're all just trying to feed people here. With every farmer, whether they're doing it conventional or organic, we're all in the spirit of feeding people and doing something very good. But it's just a different
respect for all farmers.
It's just a different thing.
Yeah,
entirely.
And I think that there is people are becoming more and more interested in organic, and farmers, a lot of grazing farmers that grow pasture for grazing cattle are realizing that not tilling can be very beneficial.
Oh, really?
Well. Yeah, for cattle, and so like a thing called holistic grazing we practice with our goats on our 80 acres, where you intensely graze an area for a short period of time, and then move the animal to another area, and then the perennial grasses start to take hold, and it stimulates their roots, so that you're more like mimicking the way life has been for millennia, with hooven animals running the earth under predator, under predator pressure, where they're running and not sitting and just passively grazing in one area, which compacts the soil and closes the surface so that the soil won't accept the water that gets rained on it. It runs off. So with holistic grazing, more rainwater is able to penetrate, and the grasses and the perennials and springs and everything do better with that style of grazing.
So to bring more, it essentially can bring more nutrients to what they're trying to feed off of.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually,
it's exciting stuff.
Let's get these in the cooler real quick. I'm afraid of these things wilting because they're so beautiful, and it's a little humid in here.
Sure.
But I want to talk more about that because that's really interesting. I had Mark McAfee. I don't know if you who he is.
Oh yeah, sure. Organic Pastures.
Raw Farm Dairy here in
Yeah.
Fresno. It's actually not too far. I had him on, and we talked a lot about this too. And it's crazy.
He does the rotational grazing, and yeah.
I'm not sure how he does about. I'm not sure if he does that specifically, but I know he's been a big proponent of raw milk for many years, and he's actually the largest raw milk dairyman in the world. And it's right here in our backyard.
That's right, out towards Lemoore, right?
I think it's about. I want to say it's about 20 miles east of here, downtown Tower. So yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of folks. There's a big movement towards kind of more progressive alternative ways of farming.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about that. And that's what the Ecological Farming Association promotes as well. Be worth to look up and see what's going on there.
What was the name of it again?
The Ecological Farming Association.
Ecological Farming Association.
Ecofarm.org is a site you can learn about what we do.
Sure, I'll check it out. I'll have some time later.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your guys' menu at the Gnarly Carrot. I see you got some juices here, and they got clever names, by the way. This one's called Fox Ropical, and it's got apple, orange, and celery. And this other one's called Everything But the Sink, and this one's got apple, beet, carrot, leafy greens, celery, lemon, orange, grapefruit. So really everything but the kitchen sink.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm going to try some of these right here.
Yeah, give them a good shake.
Yeah.
Yeah, we, it's... Folks really love our fresh juices. They're real popular. Becky does smoothies as well.
Oh, cool.
And it's going to be really flavorful because a lot of the fruit is really ripe. It's also a way for us to use fruit that is getting real ripe and maybe not real pretty that someone might want to buy and hold in their hand, but it's super full of nutrition. That's going to have a real earthy taste.
That one's got, I could taste the
beets. Yeah.
Taste the beets.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So you guys are doing, I'm guessing with this, using your guys' own stuff.
Yeah.
Versus,
and
your own
other
stuff
farmers.
and other farms.
Yeah. Sometimes, we don't have the season that you do here in the valley, so we rely on some wonderful farms here in the valley for when we're off season if we don't have something.
So it's a farmer's market juice. That's what it is.
Yes, there you go.
That's very cool. What are some of your favorite things at the Gnarly Carrot, like the juices and stuff?
I love the juices. I just love all the fresh produce. I love the pasture-fed meat producers that we have, and I take a lot of Paul Stamets' supplements, the mushroom supplements. We have several beekeeping operations we get nice local honey from, and I love the fact that it's kind of a little social hub for our town.
Yeah,
our North Fork's pretty small and it's a pretty depressed community. There's a lot of closed down businesses.
So it's really something that brings the community together.
So
up there.
Yeah, and so that's our goal. We want to serve folks, and we also run the North Fork School Garden, and our family volunteers for the government food commodity distribution. We've been doing for 25 years.
Oh wow!
So we're not about trying to be elite and organic and expensive, although I believe that the true cost of producing vegetables is not really shown in the public eye because so much of the vegetables are grown industrially and they're subsidized in ways that the small farmer doesn't receive.
Yeah.
So it's a real struggle to make a living selling vegetables. Small farms have to rely on an outside income most of the time. So.
But like you said, I think there's really a growing trend in health and wellness and people taking responsibility for their own health and growing practices and stuff like that. Ever since I think COVID and maybe other things have cropped up, a lot of people have started looking inward with their own health and maybe doing their own research more.
Yeah, I have a real fun expression that I didn't coin, but I love it. It's like you can pay your farmer now or your doctor later.
Yeah.
So take care of your body. It's an important thing.
Yeah, you maybe pay an extra $1 or $2 for a nice fresh cup of juice that's, grown very humanely and responsibly.
It's going to be a lot healthier for you than a bunch of colored sugar water.
It's going to bring you a lot more than
choice for a lot.
Yeah, I won't name names of those big, corporate companies, but
right.
We know which ones they are.
Yeah, and it's nice to have a treat now and again. I'm not against that. I just think that the majority of the time we should try to take care of our bodies. And
we know all about
good stuff in them.
We know all about treats, don't we, Central Valley Foodies? We got a lot of good stuff. Check out our pages. We got everything you could ever want. Good taco spots, ice cream places, everything, you name it. And some more healthful stuff like the stuff you guys offer, Hansel.
That's great.
So
great.
tell us a little more about. So I know that you're a big proponent and big advocate for the Stone Fruit Jubilee.
Yeah.
I had the Nailers on last week, and
Uh-huh.
they're going to be helping host that too, and Kingsburg this year.
Yeah.
Tell us about your relationship with them and kind of the Stone Fruit Jubilee.
Sure. We have quite a history. We actually started it as a project. It is still a project of Eco Farm, so they help support us. We use their 501c3 status for all of our permitting and insurance. But we started it at one of the first organic dairies in Northern California, or in Central Valley up in Livingston,
Okay.
with Tony and Carol Azevedo. And then we moved to a blueberry farm with Cindy and Bill. And then we moved to a Japanese natural farm out here in Clovis for the last 10 years. It's all part of our heartland. The whole idea is to introduce local folks in the valley to the organic growers that live and work here, but a lot of them end up going clear to the coast to sell their products. So there's not a lot of outlets.
Or go to farmers markets.
And to farmers markets.
Such as my stepdad's farm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Stone Fruit Jubilee is about connecting the public with the growers, and we have a dozen growers or so, and they sampled. You can sample all their different varieties of fruit. There might be 60 different varieties of stone fruit at our event. This year we've expanded it to include a small farm expo, so we're including vegetable growers as well. And this will be our first year at the Kingsburg Historical Society Park. And it's just a beautiful venue. There's just a lot of shade trees, a lot of wonderful old buildings with old farm equipment in it, a nice meeting room for keynote speakers.
Yeah.
And we're going to have live music there.
Good Medicine's going to be out there.
Yeah, they're going to be there. And our family hosts a kids village. We have a kids crafts village.
Yeah.
As well as we're on the planning committee with Mike and Nori and several others. And we invite anyone. We're always looking for people to be on our planning committee. If anyone's interested, and
I just got asked to be on it.
Did you?
Yeah.
I heard you accepted.
I accepted.
That is
so
wonderful.
I'm going to be on the committee as well.
We'd really like it to be a really wonderful event to look forward to every year. COVID kind of threw a little wrench in the gears.
But you guys are coming back full
but we're
blast
coming
this
back
year.
full on. Yeah.
So yeah, Stone Fruit Jubilee, you guys make sure you check it out. I'm going to be there. I encourage all of you guys to get out there.
June
this year.
24th.
June 24th, 4 to 8 p.m. Good Medicine's going to be out there. Hansel Kern's going to be out there. And there's going to be about, I think, 10 different organic farms. Is that correct?
Yeah. There's probably 8 or 10 stone fruit growers, or 6 or 8 stone fruit
Mike
growers.
Mike and Nori Naylor will be there.
And 5 or 6 vegetable growers.
Yeah, and I think they're going to have other food vendors out there, too.
There's going to be some vendors.
So maybe some food trucks.
Yep, there will be food
stuff.
trucks. There's going to be the tap truck. There's going to be some beer there that's going to be made with some of the fruit.
You guys going to be bringing any of the nice juices here from Gnarly Carrot?
I don't know, but we have some other folks that are going to be doing juicing and teas and so forth. Yeah.
Right on.
So
it'll be a fun event.
It'll be a great variety of stuff.
Can't wait.
So,
yeah. So, and I understand you guys have goats out there. You have for goat management.
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
We manage with that. Like I say, we have with the holistic grazing management. My son has taken several courses on it, and he's really been into it for years. Where we have a portable electric fence and a couple of Great Pyrenees guardian dogs, and we move a third of an acre fence every 2 or 3 days, so that over the course of a year, the goats have grazed on the entire 80 acres. And we were surrounded by the creek fire, and I really believe that between our trails and roads and the goat management, that the creek fire basically surrounded our property but didn't hurt our farm. And the idea is to get that underbrush eaten down, much in the way that the Native Americans did it through fire for millennia.
Yeah.
So that the forest isn't so thick that when a fire comes through, it gets up into the canopy and destroys everything.
Right.
And so with all of our fire suppression in modern years, it's really allowed the forest to get too thick. So we are mechanically going in with chainsaws and cutting some of the brush down, and then we are grazing it every year so that the goats keep that underbrush low, and it really helps the health of the soil.
That's good, because those fires get crazy. And
it was crazy.
Firefighters work very hard. My girlfriend's a first responder.
Is she?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hats off to her.
Yes, hats off to her. I cannot do it. Somebody's got to do it, though.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, it's an admirable job for sure.
Yeah. So regenerative agriculture is something really you guys are big into, and no-till. Did you guys start out doing that, or was that
No,
something?
actually, I've been aware. My father talked about the dangers of tillage and the harm that it does way back in the 60s and 70s. But what I used for many years, I never used a rototiller or a disc, but I did have a machine called a spade plow. And that's basically a tool behind the tractor that mimics shovels. It's like 6 shovels in a row, and it's very slow. And it's about kind of pushing down the organic matter on the surface into the soil, kind of based on the theory of herd effect. When a hoof of an animal runs, their hooves will push the organic matter on the surface down into the soil, thereby sequestering carbon. But it is a soil disturbance. And my son went to a 1-day or 2-day workshop in Sebastopol with the Singing Frog Farms, who are extensive no-till. He got so excited that he ended up staying there the week and living with the folks and asking, wrote 40 pages of notes. And he came home and said, "Dad, I don't want the tractor on our fields anymore."
No more.
And I'm happy to hand it off to the next generation.
Yeah, he's enthused just as you, and
he's really pumped
wants
up
to really,
about it.
That's awesome.
So we do not run the tractor on the fields. I turn compost. And
now, did you ever when you started doing that wasn't popular when you started doing it? Was that did you get any sort of backlash for that, or farmers maybe who were kind of like, "Well, what are you doing there?"
Yeah. Well, I'm not. We're kind of isolated up there. There's not a lot of farmers around us.
That's true. Yeah.
But I know that there's a lot of farmers that I've overheard in the valley here and there where they just, they're saying it's not possible. And at a large scale, it's difficult. There are like 5 farms that I know of that are doing trials. People that are farming 100 or 500 acres, but they're trying to no-till 20 acres, and they're doing the studies on it right now, and it's challenging. It's kind of a whole new way of going about things.
Yeah.
And there's, it doesn't have to be all or nothing. There's minimum tillage, there's strip tillage, there's different ways to try to transition and just disturb less of the soil that you're farming. So I encourage all farmers to look into no-till or minimum tillage.
Yeah, if you're a farmer out there, or many of us, we're in the heart of agriculture here, most productive agricultural region in the nation, arguably the world. If you guys know anybody who farms, this might be something to educate them on, or just to listen to this interview and kind of get some of this information out there on some of this, land preservation stuff.
Yeah, and there are things there are farms in the Midwest that are doing grains and wheats and stuff, large scale no-till, and even some big companies like General Mills is supporting some of this stuff because they're finding out it's ecologically advantageous.
That says something
better.
Right there.
Yeah, so it's not just a fringe little bearded hippie thing on the one side, out in the fringes. It's a growing thing. It's for real.
Yeah. And science is looking at it and everything.
Science is looking at it.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, the folks at Singing Frog were not farmers. They're biologists and scientists. And when they started farming, it just made sense to them biologically to not destroy all the microorganisms that are in the soil.
Wow.
And that's how they approached it.
Incredible stuff, and just a wealth of knowledge right here. So if one wanted to, I heard you mentioned a little bit, but if one wanted to come check out the farm, I understand you guys offer like a stay-on experience.
Not like the Nailers do.
Not like the Nailers do.
We're kind of out in the boondocks, and we have neighbors and a locked gate and all that, so we're not like open to the public. We normally have a farm party every year for our members.
Okay.
Our store has a membership so that you can join and get a discount, and then you will be invited to our farm party.
Okay, I got it wrong. I thought maybe I had heard something about if you want to be an intern or learn how to farm.
Now we do have that.
Have you heard of WWOOFing? WWOOFing? No, I haven't.
Worldwide Opportunities on Organic Farms.
Oh.
It's a worldwide organization, and there's about 3,000 farms in the United States that host woofers.
Okay.
We've hosted around 700 over the last 15 years.
Okay.
And matter of fact, right now we're having a reunion, our 15th year reunion. We're calling it Woofstock. And alumni from years past, all the way back to 2014, and have come and reunited and shown us their new partners and kids and what they're doing with their lives now. So it's a work exchange, room and board for a half a day's work, 5 days a week, and all the learning and questions you want to ask.
Yeah.
And it's a great program to inspire young people to get into farming.
There's a lot of young people who want to learn and get into farming and agriculture, but not sure where to start. I think that's a really good option. I know when I was going to college, when I was going to Portland Community College, I took a semester of organic gardening.
Did you?
And really started my interest in food and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You are what you eat. You know,
You are what you
there's
eat.
a lot to that expression.
Yeah.
And
Well,
yeah.
well, Hansel, is there anything else you'd like our audience to know? I think I covered everything.
Yeah,
I
I
kind of wanted to cover.
covered it very well. You know, we'd love to see everyone at the Stone Fruit Jubilee.
Yeah.
Support your local farmers. Go to your farmers markets, and yeah.
Yep. Whether you're up in North Fork, go check out Gnarly Carrot. They're in downtown North Fork. Get up to the farm if you can get up to the farm. Make arrangements with Hansel and them at Kern Family Farm. And I think we covered everything today.
Very good. Thank
All
you
right.
so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.